Okay, so remember they're changing my voice. Revelation 18. Lament over fallen Babylon. After this I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. With a mighty voice he shouted, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling for demons, and a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird, a haunt for every unclean and detestable animal. For all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Okay, so remember, it's a place for demons, unclean birds, etc. All the people of the earth, all the nations drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. Okay, the spirit of adultery, spirit of cheating me on my right to lead, which means they're following idols like the show American Idol, right? Kind of groupies, grouping around political parties, music groups, entertainers, politicians, okay, social leaders, cults, what have you, okay. Warned to escape Babylon's judgment. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so you will not receive any of her plagues. For her sins are piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Give back to her as she has given, pay her back double for what she has done. Pour her a double portion from her own cup. Give her as much torment and grief as the glory and luxury she gave herself. In her heart she boasts, I sit enthroned as queen. I am not a widow. I will never mourn. Therefore one day her plagues will overtake her, death, mourning, and famine. She will be consumed by fire, for mighty is the Lord God who judges her. So she will be consumed by this fire of God's presence because she refuses to be in the divine order. Now, let's just take it group by group, okay, to keep it simple. Okay, African Americans, I'll start with them. Okay, have their African American orders. They're token minorities, look up to people. People look up to rappers. They look up to cult people, Farrakhan, Al Sharpton, or whoever they look up to, right? Snoop Dogg. And they refuse to put God first. When you say how you live your life is you're going to follow these guys, you're going to be in this political group, a communist, a Democrat, a Republican, you're going to follow, some Chicago rapper or something, you're going to follow, Jim Jones or whoever, the Dog Pound or whoever. You put that before God, and it dulls your ability to have mental clarity. So it's an idol. It dulls. It's an idol. Okay? It's an I lead, right? Who's leading? Deal is lead scrambled, right? It's an anagram, right? The letters are scrambled. Lead, deal. You're made a deal with those idols by your actions to follow them and not God. Countless African Americans are aware of what's going on here to a large degree. Some of them I've contacted personally. Why aren't they following me? Why aren't they obeying God through me? Because they've chosen to be idolaters. So we have a nice little sample of their population. Some are in other states, some are in New York, some are, in the South. Okay, why do they, without fail, refuse to put God first by obeying God through me? Okay, because they drank the maddening wine of the global system. Okay, whether they call themselves nationalists or not, nationalists are just controlled opposition for the globalists. Okay, and putting nation before God is just as bad as being in a global group and so on and so forth. Okay, so they say, hey, we won't mourn. By their action, they say, hey, wait, this is not serious enough for us to obey God through you. Okay, who's gonna punish us? You, right? Their actions are saying things along these lines. Some are saying, "Oh, sorry, but we don't know what to do," and they're making kind of weak excuses and so on and so forth. So the spirit of God's presence is already starting to consume them because their actions reflect their decisions, and then they go to hell and burn in the essence of God's spirit and in disgrace, faced with nothing but God forever. Okay. So with the whites, the Jews, the LGBT, you can imagine they're doing something similar, right? The Jews are sitting there while this is happening, and they're arguing by their actions that it's okay to pretend that they're chosen and not me, okay? That following them is just as good or better than following me, okay? And they're like, we're going to benefit from it. The white guy with all his privilege, his corporate blood money, and so on and so forth, in their various positions, some of them are managerial, they're like, we're going to benefit from this. Native American arguing that their Native American culture is better than moral precision, and so on and so forth. Okay, there's some shared cultural values, you want to call it that, but outside the divine order is outside the divine order. It makes women wicked, and the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Again, I'm not trying to insult everybody, I'm just trying to be fair, go through the group. Asians have their little social orders, right? Their ethnic groups, Korean, Chinese, from Thailand, and what have you. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Indians are also Asians, and so on and so forth, And the Middle Eastern people, Pakistan, Afghanistan, you name it, okay, they have their little orders, their little cultures and traditions, their liberal, their way of being liberals, and commonly speaking, typically speaking, their individual hermit cultures within their greater subcultures, and so on and so forth. Okay, but all of them are being led astray by the idea of Babylon, who in her heart, in her core, is someone who cheats me out of my right to lead, right? Nimrod, Cush begot Nimrod. Nimrod founded Babylon, and Nimrod said, I'm God's representative, and that's what it said in Genesis 10. It says Nimrod was a mighty hunter and a mighty warrior before the Lord. No one else is described anywhere near as respectably as Nimrod in all of Genesis. In all of Genesis. Not Abraham, nobody. Okay, Nimrod is the ideal person in all of the first book of the Bible. Not Adam, not Seth, nobody. He's a mighty warrior among the Lord. Another translation, a mighty warrior. He's the mightiest warrior. And in Psalm 45 says the most excellent of men, okay, is the mighty one. New Living Translation, I believe it is, mighty warrior. The mighty warrior is the most excellent of men. God is a warrior. He's not a guy who made a deal with Melchizedek. God is a warrior. Okay, he's not merely the first guy he created. God is a warrior. He's not merely Set. He's not Cain who kills people for the wrong reason. God is a holy and heavenly warrior. Nimrod is the true husband of Babylon, who is betrayed by the whore who chooses something other than a heavenly warrior order to be a part of, which is the entire world. If you do not know I'm right immediately, then you're a sick son of a bitch. All right. Threefold woe over Babylon's fall. When the kings of the earth who committed adultery with her and shared her luxury see the smoke of her burning, they will weep and mourn over her, terrified at her torment, and they will stand far off and cry, woe, woe to you, great city, you mighty city of Babylon. In 1 hour your doom has come. Notice it's called mighty. Okay, Cush begot Nimrod, who was a mighty warrior before the Lord. Okay, he says, woe to you, you city that has the genes to some degree. You have the genes of Nimrod to some degree. He said, wow, you got nice tits and nice booty, and you have a certain smooth skin and so on and so forth that comes from being in the sun and being related to an African, the top martial artist on the planet. He said, wow. All that stuff that comes with being martial art, think about Asian culture, for example, calligraphy and the outfits and so on and so forth. All these fine linen and all this stuff, okay? And of course, it's symbolic of fine linen, for example, it's the righteous acts of the saints. She has trickled down, like it's dwindling away as she moves away from Nimrod's spirit, and Babylon the Great is said to have fallen. So the merchants of the earth who weep and mourn over her because no one buys the cargoes anymore, cargoes of gold, silver, precious stones and pearls, fine linen, purple, silk, and scarlet, every sort of citron wood, and articles of every kind of ivory, costly wood, bronze, iron, and marble. Okay, but is that the problem, that they don't have fancy goods? No, because Proverbs says the rich are wise in their own eyes. One who is poor and discerning sees how deluded they are. Okay, Jesus said it's rare for the rich man to find the kingdom of heaven. It's easy for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Luke 1, his mother, Virgin Mary, says that God has done mighty things with his mighty arm, and he sends the rich away empty. Okay, so they're talking about the fact that they lost that martial spirit. Okay, and Jesus says to the Jews who are like, we're the offspring of Abraham. We're the offspring of Abraham. He says, look, shut the fuck up. Before Abraham is Nimrod. So shut the fuck up with that bitch ass shit. That's what he says. But you don't understand that because you're too busy sucking the church. You know what? 13 cargoes of cinnamon and spice, of incense, myrrh and frankincense, of wine and olive oil, of fine flour and wheat, cattle and sheep, horse and carriages, and human beings sold as slaves. They will say, the fruit you longed for is gone from you, all your luxury and splendor have vanished, never to be recovered. The merchants who sold these things and gained their wealth from her will stand far off, terrified and determined. They will weep and mourn and cry out, woe, woe to you, great city, dressed in fine linen, righteous acts, martial acts, right? Jesus, Revelation 19, the chapter after this, comes as a warrior. Purple and scarlet and glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. In 1 hour, such great wealth has been brought to ruin. Every sea captain and all who travel by their ship, the sailors and all who earn their living from the sea will stand far off. When they see the smoke of her burning, they will exclaim, was there ever a city like this great city? A great city. They were not great, but great. They will throw dust on their heads and with weep and mourning. Woe, woe to you, great city, where all had ships on the sea became rich through her wealth. In 1 hour she has been brought to ruin. Rejoice over her, you heavens. Rejoice, you people of God. Rejoice, apostles and prophets. For God has judged her with the judgment she imposed on you. So now really briefly, I make sure, I was yelling, and it really, it really pisses me off that you people want to twist the order. But let's look at this thing, okay? He said, if you were Abraham's offspring, you would do what he did. And obviously, God was a warrior before he gave Moses the power in the story to split the Red Sea, which is figurative. It didn't actually happen. It is symbolic. It is spiritually speaking, okay? The sea stands for different things, people, and so on and so forth, okay? And different characteristics of ideas, good and evil, okay? Depending on how you translate it, as long as it leads back to the purpose of the translation and the order and so on and so forth. If it's not translated in the boundaries of righteousness and justice, and it's not a valid translation, it's invalid, okay? So he said, if you were Abraham's children, you would love me because I'm a warrior who's greater than Abraham. They say, well, if Jesus didn't do any warrior acts, well, go back to Revelation 19. He comes back as a warrior. Go to the New Testament, okay? In the Gospels of Jesus, he says, you'll see me by God's right hand, seated at the right hand of power, the right hand of the mighty one, as a mighty one at the right hand of the mighty one, okay? So he says, I'm greater than Abraham because I'm a greater fucking warrior, you stupid fuck. Okay, and it pisses me off that you're going to sit there with a church thong and act like I'm wrong. Okay, the finality of Babylon's doom. Then a mighty angel picked up a boulder the size of a large millstone and threw it into the sea and said, with such violence, the great city of Babylon will be thrown down, never to be found again. This is leading up in Revelation 19. It says, what conquers them? Is somebody waving his magic wand? Is someone playing in the sand? Is a carpenter building a table? No. Okay? Is this a priest going, I read this in the Bible? No. It is martial force. The kingdom of heaven is not a matter of mere talk and a matter of mere covenant with Melchizedek. It's a matter of power, spiritual power, spirit and spirit. The reason why angels are depicted with a spear. Pretty straightforward. All right. And not like some fairy nonsense like they depicted. Okay. So I actually scrolled down. Yeah, they're making it harder for me right now. It's a long story. They like hacking phones and so on and so forth. Give me a second here. I'm about to finish Revelation 18. I go as far as say me yelling and being dramatic about it. We reflecting the drama that is in there. Not, over dramatic, not drama queen, but, being serious about it is far superior to their explanation. If you're like, I want them to not yell. I want them to say some fairy bitch shit. Like when I'm a kid, I want them to tell me about Little Red Riding Hood and My Little Pony. You need to grow the fuck up if that's what you want from someone telling you about God. My goodness. God is a warrior, not some sissy fairy. Grow up. Okay. Where was I? I'm a really nice guy. And if you don't know that, and you don't see why I'm angry, because I'm a righteous, nice guy who's being treated unfairly, and that this is serious and serious things are going on. I'm sorry that you don't see that. All right. So again, he throws it into the sea. Okay, the music of harpists and musicians, pipers and trumpeters will never be heard in you again. No work of any trade will ever be found in you again. The sound of a millstone will never be heard in you again. The light of a lamp will never shine in you again. The voice of a bride and bridegroom will never be heard in you again. Your merchants were the important people. By your magic spell, remember, it became a haunt for demons. By your magic spell, magic spells and demons go hand in hand. Psychology, poisoning, pharmaceuticals, okay, deception, propaganda. Okay, by your magic spell, those things, all the nations were led astray. In her was found the blood of prophets and of God's holy people, of all who have been slaughtered on the earth. Right, gospel, ghost spell, magic spell. Right, they're warding the spirit of God. Who's remaining? And they say the world's going to hell in a handbasket. How many Christians have said that themselves, testifying against themselves and their churches, because they're the reason why that is. They're a key reason why that is. Okay. All right. Again, if you feel I was treating you too harshly, I'm sorry that you feel that way. If you can show me that I'm being too harsh with your group, then I will apologize. Show me what video. I'll try to watch the annotations because I can't review my own videos because of my condition. And I'll take the video down if that is the case. But if you see any videos taken down, know for sure they did it, not me, because that's not the case. I go over this again and again, and I ask people all the time, priests and everyone else who comments, people who post videos, Christians and so on and so forth. I ask them all the time. They have no viable counter argument. Okay? All right. Okay.